Yeah, Jehak, thank you, for
Thanks,
coordinating this
Vinny.
training. It has been wonderful, and you nicely explained and step by step, that was very helpful. So I had one question uh, about like, what is the limit? Like, we call this Apex as a small watershed scale model,
Mm-hmm.
and then, so is there any limit on the area that it can model, or like number of sub areas that you can create?
Mm. Well, no. I can say no very clearly because that was one of a few issues we addressed lately. Um, we had a First of all, can Apex simulate large watersheds?
Mhm.
Yes. We have done large watershed simulations recently in the past few years, mostly in the Colorado River Basin. That's those watershed in western United States and the Rocky Mountain areas, and we simulated six watersheds in the Colorado River Basin. They can go several oh, several thousand square kilometers or bigger. And we were able to replicate the stream flow very well, like about zero point 0.6 Nash Sutcliffe coefficient to like zero point 0.8 or more higher. And then also we used a coupled apex and mod flow, simulator in those watersheds, and so we were able to concurrently calibrate stream flow and groundwater level in the monitoring wells. So those two-track approach made a pretty good results in terms of calibrating water balance. So we were very happy and confident to say that the Apex performs pretty good simulating large watershed. Well, river basin, we haven't done a river basin simulation, so that's still question mark and
Mhm.
still needing some verification. But from our experience, I think Apex can be a good tool to simulate hydrology and the water quality processes in large-scale watersheds. How many subareas can Apex, delineate in a watershed? A recent work with a user, and then our own work as well. A user was trying to delineate his watershed into about 10,000 subareas, and he was having some troubles, and we were actually we helped to resolve a few glitches. This glitch is not limitation because the model was supposed to run fine, but then we had a few things that we were not considering because we never ran the model with that many sub areas. But now I can tell that after working with that user, and fixing all those minor errors, it runs fine on that large, size model. So, but beware, careful that it's going to be a time-consuming process if you have that many sub-areas. Because
Yeah.
Apex does a lot more computations than other models like SWOT when it comes to specific processes like a soil erosion. Then it's not just a soil erosion that it calculates. Other related processes like reduced um, um, plowing depth, because with soil erosion, we lose soil particles in the topsoil, right? So that much lost soil will have um, to be to feed back the model for the next day with shallower root zone depth, and so it adjusts all the soil layer information accordingly. So that's just one example. Many other very detailed calculations will make the overall Apex run much slower if you have that many sub areas, because each subarea counts,
Yep, yep.
in the
Yeah, I have a question related to the sub areas. If I have a map of field boundaries, can I use that as to define the sub areas?
what field boundary?
If I have a watershed and I have a map that defines the boundary of each field or each farm, can I
Oh
use
yeah,
it
yeah.
to define the sub areas?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Okay, let me show it very quick, okay? Because it is also available with the example data set. So ooh, we can, okay, so there's ArcApex, and then I'm gonna start a new project just to show you how to do that. So I'm not gonna save it. Then this time it will be a new folder ex5, and click, 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 and then when you do delineation, what you do, you first load your DEM, of course. So Apex, ArcApex database, example dataset, and DEM, right? So when you load it, then you actually can do this part, this part. Do you see predefined, right? Predefined. So let's go here. Let's just create a flow direction accumulation, and then what part? Oh, here. So when you do stream definition, you can actually select predefined streams and watersheds instead of using the DEM that you loaded. So then this one gets activated. You need to select a watershed data set, which is just a kind of shapefile that sets subarea boundaries. So you load it from the disk, and then in the example Apex folder, C Apex ArcApex databases example Apex folder, you have a shapefile named fields.shp, and that's the field boundary. Okay. Ooh, I guess I need to restart the ArcGIS. I think something went wrong. So I'm gonna just close it and then redo. It's often the case, so I'm not surprised at all anymore. ArcApex just fails quite frequently, and then Apex runs fail. But well, it's kind of unnecessary part that I have to deal with. We have to deal with. Anyways, so back to then I'll just remove everything inside just to make sure that we have a fresh start. Then okay, then back to delineation, and then we're gonna load DM, and then we'll do predefined streams and watersheds. And then, so here we provide subarea boundaries and then channel definition there. So watershed must have subbasin ID and so forth. Okay, so this go there, and then field. I don't know what's going on. Let's see, input. It should work because it worked yesterday. I was getting this prepared, and then I tried that option, and then it was working good, and it's not. I don't know why. Oh, here. Oh, okay. User watershed. That's it. Actually, it's in the example inputs folder, not the example Apex folder. It's in a different folder, ex inputs. And this one, user watershed .shp, is actually the one that's formatted right. And then see it's loaded there, right? It's just a sub-area boundaries. And then if you open the attribute table, it has these columns, and these are required. Actually, this and that, these are required. So you have your field boundaries prepared, the same way, and then you have also channel definitions to load. Same folder, Apex database, and then example inputs folder. You have user streams shapefile as well. So now you have your own stream definitions. They're loaded, and you can have yours prepared the same way. This. So you need to have all the connections already defined here. Like, okay, this channel, upstream of it is that, and the downstream of it is this, things like that, and then they will join here, things like that. That from and to nodes specified how they kind of build a stream network there. So once you have them, and then you create just streams outlet, and then go from there, and then you actually have a watershed model using your existing field boundaries. So from here on, it's all the same. You define subareas by overlaying land use map, soil map, and slope classes.
Great, thank you.
All right. Yeah. And then beyond, you can just, repeat the processes. All right. Very good. Kansham has a question?
Yes, sir. Are you listening me? Are you listening me, sir?
Yeah, I
Yes,
can hear
I
you.
can hear you.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Uh, 1 minute. Thank you very much, sir. Your excellent presentation.
Thank you.
Sir, already I also sent few emails to you. Only I have some problem in uh, in configuration the different sub areas in a smaller areas like uh, 0.4 hectare area. I want to model 4 different vegetable crops, although the soil and climate is same.
Okay. Yeah,
But
no problem.
I am not able to hydrologically connect all those 4 sub areas. So I am
Okay.
facing the problem in.
Sure. After the workshop, so early next week, please send me an email with probably send me again your email with hopefully a link to your input file sets for my downloading, because I need your data set to really look at what's going on. So
Okay, sir.
send me an email with the trouble that you're having, and then also a link, hopefully via like a Google Drive or whatever available on the cloud, where I can download your input files.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right.
Thank you.
All right. Lee Wang asks, can you show me the folders for input files for each subarea? I'm not sure if I understood right. So this one I was working on it, so not this one, audio one. if you go to scenario and then either, I don't know, here, txt in out folder is the one that has all the input files. And then subarea input will be written in the sub file. So here we have from 1 to 14 um, kind of groups to input each and every subarea. So
No,
these 12 lines actually defines one subarea.
hello,
Um,
hello.
yes,
Yes, sir, but I am using the Apex editor because here highly resolution DEM is not available.
sure. Yeah,
DEM,
yeah. Apex editor can be used
yes, so,
to.
Apex editor, so only alone Apex editor can do the whole simulation or not?
It's one of the tools that can do the Apex simulation. Apex editor can be used to, edit Apex inputs, run Apex, and then read Apex outputs. Arc Apex can be very instrumental when you have a watershed and special information of that watershed available, because you don't want to manually build a stream network that connects, let's say, 25 subareas. That's gonna
No,
be very, very difficult because I don't want to do that myself. If it's like, okay, 4 sub areas or only like 2 or 3, tiered stream system, two first order, second or third order, about that, having let's say less than 10 main reaches there, then Apex editor or WinApex can still be useful to put together a set of Apex input files. But a watershed, let's say 100 square kilometers watershed, where you have like 600 subareas and 600 main reaches, it's almost not practically possible to put together a stream network and then structure your subareas alongside. So that's where ArcApex becomes really powerful.
no, sir. Arc Apex is really powerful, but on the this Apex forum when I discussed 2 3 years back, then probably one suggestion came from your side because zero point 0.4 hectare is the only 1 acre area. 1 acre
Mhm.
area, 4,000 meters square area. Only we have 4 different type of vegetable crops. Suppose maybe zero
Yes,
point 0.1 hectare, zero point 0.1 hectare around. So
that's
at
right.
that time you just suggest ki you take one sub area, but
Hmm.
only my submission is I want to simulate 4 sub areas instead
Sure,
of single sub area.
sure.
So only I have to assume the topography like same zero point 0.1 hectare, zero point 0.1 hectare, zero point 0.1 hectare, and then directly I want to just connect hydrologically. So
Hmm.
only already I measure the runoff discharge for continuous last 7 years in the area.
Hmm.
Mm,
Good, very
why
good.
stage level recorder. So the runoff I am just getting at one place, runoff only one place, zero point 0.4 hectare area. So that will be I have to simulate or I have to observe and measure, measured and then simulated. I have to compare. That that was my one objective. Then some yield and then management practices like in one sub area, zero point 0.1 hectare, like the mulch and then sometime drip irrigation or maybe irrigation deficiency, that type of result just I want to know. So
Sure.
probably the apex, because in India here only I have the DM 30 by 30 or 90 by 90. So 30 by 30 will give only four pixels, four, because 30 meter by 30 meter is 900 meter for one pixel area. So in
Right.
4000 meters square only I get 4 pixels. So because high resolution is DAM is not available, then arc apex will not work properly.
That's right. Yep, that's right.
So so in that situation, can I work on only Apex editor, although all the
Yep,
files I
yep.
prepared?
Yep.
Only I have to check. I have to see the effect of these conservation practices, like some type of deficient irrigation or like mulch and others. Because I am just getting runoff at the outlet at 0.4 hectare outlet,
Okay.
like a field that I am treated as a experimental watershed.
Sure. I think Apex Editor can be the best tool you can actually use to simulate your field, particularly because it's only 1 acre field, and then 4 sub-areas sound not that demanding to deal with using the Apex Editor. So I think you are doing the good practice. The challenges you're having with simulating runoff, we can actually work together when I have a copy of your input file set, and we'll go from there. Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. Yeah. Who else raised a hand? I see. Oh, okay.
Sorry, Jack. Can
Yes.
I point out one thing?
Sure.
So you shared for me 2 files in the chat, and we want to see if everyone that is online now is able to download those files, because we are going to use the file shared now tomorrow for some exercise. So can the people online now try to download those files?
Can anyone confirm that you downloaded one of or both of these files?
So I had this question actually. I'm not able to access chat, and since the beginning of the session, and I'm not sure if it's just me or it's happening with other people as well.
There's no chatting limitations, like restrictions. So you're supposed to have all of the chatting.
Very good, very good. Yeah, we have a report that file was downloadable.
Okay, file was downloadable.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's
Comparted, I don't know really. You should be able to do that. I mean, you had yourself registered for the webinar, right?
Yes. But this is the first time I'm using Microsoft Teams, so I'll look into it, but I think that because I am considered as a guest here, that might be an issue. But there are other people as well.
Right.
Yeah, who are guests. So if they are able to access the chat.
Yeah, I mean, I see that Gansham is also, named guest, and then he was able to, write in the chat window. So, being a guest is not the factor that limits you from writing stuff on the chat window.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I'll check because I have the option to speak here and turn on the video, but I don't see options for chat. Yeah, I don't see chat here.
Do you have the Teams app installed on your Windows?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I
sorry,
tried.
Excuse me.
Is the chat windows open?
Excuse me.
Yeah, can you try sending me a message on chat, like maybe not a group, but individually, because I don't see a chat icon here.
Yeah, actually, if I try to send you a message, it is grayed out. Let me see. Yeah. And about, well, we are jumping from one topic to another. I'm going back to those files because I've seen that one attendee was able to download it, but from the email I can see that it's part of TAMU, so Texas A&M. Anybody else that is not part of TAMU was able to download the file.
Here in the chat window, there's actually a message at the top saying some people in this chat are outside your organization. It's possible they have message-related policies that will apply to the chat. So that's what it really says, and I don't really understand what it means, but it might have to do with this policies, message-related policies at your institute.
Oh, yeah, it might be that way. I'm here at the University of Minnesota, and I also saw a message that that the meeting is outside the UMN structure, and like,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. So yeah, that's it's not something can do much about. Well, we can just yeah, you can raise hands and then we can address your questions during breaks and other whenever we can. So please bear with us and be patient.
Oh, yeah, thank you so much.
All right.
And can I, so can any one of you email me the files that you sent in chat today?
Yeah,
Sorry,
we are going to send the files. We are going to send a link to download the files
Yeah,
because
I'll
people
make,
outside of the organization is not able to download them.
yeah, I'll make the link and then put the link in the chat or the email.
Yes, email would work. Thank you.
Hey, Jihad. So, can you hear? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so I was wondering, like, I did not see skipping a few years to initiate the initial conditions in the sub areas. So, how Apex handled that? Because we simulated from the 1980, and then we were addressing those nitrogen stress and water stress from 1980. So like in the SWAT model, we put the number of skip years to initiate the initial conditions in the watershed. So how Apex handle that thing?
Oh well, we don't really put skip years because skip years really mean that you do not print outputs for the first that many years, but actually you simulate all the processes. So it's a like a it's a kind of function that makes the simulation convenient, so that you don't have to see all the outputs in the first few years when before the model simulation stabilizes. That's a convenient functionality that SWOT and other models offer, but Apex we don't do that for no obvious reason. It's just well, the way we do is we run the model, and then the model will print out results from day one of the simulation, and then we take outputs from certain period. I mean, for certain periods from the model output for calibration, and ignore the first few years.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why
I mean, it's a functionality we can add, but somehow we don't do that.
we don't have.
But it's no big deal.
Okay,
It's a convenient thing, but it's not like a big deal. You know what I'm saying?
Just to add something on this, usually, well, not usually, for all the simulation that we do for SIP, we skip the first 15 years of the entire run. So we run the model for 45 years, and then we dump the first 15 years of the simulation, and we use the remaining part of the result to do all calibration and analyze the result.
Another thing that this might be related to is a function that is quite useful in Epic and Apex and not available in other models. We simulate a baseline scenario. I mean, think of a modeling project where you are evaluating different management practices or changing land uses or anything from current configuration. And then, okay, let's say you're converting a forest into cropland, or from cropland to a forest or rangeland. Then you simulate, let's say, 30 years of a forest or 100 years of forest, okay? And then actually you set the model to print out final soil properties into soil input files. That's the output, and then also those are inputs as well. So Apex prints out soil properties in terms of Apex soil input format, and then it keeps it that way. So from there on, you can continue simulation in another model run. Let's say from 1900 to 2000, and then that's one set of simulation. And then you have the final soil properties written in soil files, and then you take those soil files to make continuous but separate another run for another 100 years after changing your management operation schedule from forest to a cornfield. And then you just simulate Apex, and then you actually visualize, let's say, soil organic carbon contents through that 200 simulation period. Then you will see that the soil organic carbon contents will be continuous between the model 100, two separate 100-year simulation results, because of the continuity you just made between the previous and later simulations, forest and cropland. And then you can make as many scenarios as you want to continue the forest, first 100 years forest, like okay, cropland, what if cropland, what if rangeland, what if pasture land, many other scenarios. And then also reverting those cropland back to forest or rangeland. Then the next 100 years, you create the soil files based on the last day of the second 100-year simulation into Apex input files, and then continue Apex simulation as a fresh new run for another 100 years. But then with actually land uses being rangeland, but not cropland anymore. So these major shifts in land management practices can be simulated in separate runs under different scenarios, but in a continuous way. So to do that for the second run and then beyond, you don't need skip year setting there. You just want to print out the outputs at the very from the very first day of simulation. So that's another thing. Actually, Luca and I advised formerly a PhD student at North Carolina State A&T University to when she evaluated there's a long-term management transitions from forest all the way down to I think banana production field or something like that in Southeast Asia. I think Cambodia, I think. So that one was done very successfully, and then she published a couple papers of that study after getting her PhD completed. So that was a good kind of example study you can actually read from the journal article. All right.
Jehak, I lost you when you in the beginning because I walked away. I couldn't get Apex in my ArcMap to show up the customs, so I was just following.
Okay. Well,
show up.
Isaiah, why don't you get the recorded video clips when they become available? Kind of go redo the hand-drawn exercise sessions, and then get go as far as you can, and then wherever you get stuck or have troubles and then can't proceed, then we can always work with you to.
That would be very helpful. You say those are going to come out in a week?
Hopefully early next week we will have those video clips all kind of edited and then split into pieces between sessions and then make available for you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, well, I guess we are about right time to call it a day today. It was a long day, first day. So thank you everyone for staying this late today, and we hope to have you back tomorrow morning to continue the workshop. And tomorrow it will be a lot more fun than today. I can tell you. And we'll all be around to answer your questions like we did today. I don't know if we can actually download all these questions and answers we have on the chat window for record, and then maybe distribute back to you. I don't know if that's a possibility, because this is our first time using this Teams webinar meeting for our workshop. So many things are new to us. So far so good.
I think that will be good.
Yeah. So far so good, and hopefully we can get all these contents downloaded and then archived for reference. So thank you so much, and then same link, same room. Come back tomorrow at 8 a.m. Pacific time or 10 a.m. Central time. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Jack.
Bye bye.